Hello, welcome to today's lesson on Learning Literature with Sir Joe. I encourage you to subscribe and share with others. Don't also forget that you need to comment on this video so that we share ideas together. If you have any question, you can also use it as a comment and it will be answered appropriately. Today's lesson is on characters, and we are going to look at what characters are or what characters represent. A character applies to any individual in a literary work which the writer has used to perform actions and speak to move the story along the plot line. Characters can either be human beings, animals, or even other inanimate objects. It depends on the writer's style of using these beings or individuals to represent his ideas in the text. A story can have only one character, which will probably be the protagonist, and still be a complete story, but most stories have multiple characters. Personality and attitude are two ways that we could use in explaining what a character is. That is, a character can be looked at from these two perspectives, it being the personality or the attitude of a person. By personality, we mean that it refers to the various aspects of a character that combine to make them different from others. And by attitude, we mean the inner self of a character. It talks about how a character thinks, feels, and even behaves to reveal what he is thinking or feeling about something and someone. Characters have been categorized into three, and these categorizations are archetype, roleplay, and quality. By archetype, we talk about the broad descriptions of different types of characters that populate human storytelling. And by roleplay, it's specifically the roles that characters play in a story. What we mean by quality is that we spell out the way the character changes or stays the same within the narrative. We will look at the specific details of these categorization. And to start with is archetype. The concept of psychological archetypes were advanced by the Swiss psychiatrist by name Carl Jung. Carl Jung gives us an idea on what an archetype is, and is a collectively inherited unconscious idea, pattern of thought, image, etc., that is universally present in individuals' psyche. The new concept of this Jung's idea on archetype has also categorized archetype into three different groups, and they are the ego, soul, and self. The ego archetype has four subcategories, which are innocent, orphan, hero, and caregiver. The soul also has four categories, that is the subcategories of the soul archetype are explorer, rebel, lover, and creator. And lastly, the self archetype of the new Jungian concept are jester, sage, magician, and ruler. These subcategorizations will be looked at in details in our subsequent videos. So this represents the archetype category of a character, and we have been able to understand that the archetype represents a general personality or descriptions of the characters that are in every story. Now let's move on to role play. By role play, we are talking about the roles that these characters play in a story. It is by their roles that they are given these names. And the first character that we will look at is the protagonist. The protagonist is usually or is the main character of a story, and it is usually a major character. The opposite character of this protagonist is the antagonist. The antagonist is the opposing character of the protagonist. He opposes or she opposes the major character, and stories that have more than one character would definitely have an antagonist opposing the protagonist. Thirdly, we have one character by name love interest. The love interest is the protagonist's object of desire. So in some stories, you would have characters that will be playing this role. The protagonist will have a desire towards this character. 4 is the confidant. The confidant is a type of character that is or that serves as a best friend of the protagonist. The confidant moves with the protagonist, and the protagonist finds it comfortable sharing his ideas and feelings with this type of character. And this type of character plays the role of confidant. The 5th character that we will look at is the tertiary characters. The tertiary characters are the minor characters that populate the story. With these characters, the main plot or the main story does not necessarily revolve around them, and that is why they are called tertiary characters. And as I said, they are mainly minor characters. The next character that we will look at is the deuteragonist. The deuteragonist type of character is a character that moves closely with the protagonist. It usually overlaps with that of confidant, and because they basically share same characteristics. But with the deuteragonist, the main plot does not directly correspond to its character traits or character arc. However, a protagonist can have a deuteragonist, and an antagonist can also have a deuteragonist, because both can have people that are close to them but are not necessarily confidants. That is why they are called deuteragonist. The last type of character by role play is what we term foil. A foil character primarily exists to bring the protagonist's qualities into sharper relief. And it is through this foil character that we get to know the qualities of the protagonist. The next category that we will look at is the quality type of characters. By quality, we talked about the fact that they should have the ability to change. So under quality, we have 4 different types of characters by quality, and they are dynamic characters, static characters, stock characters, and symbolic characters. Dynamic characters are characters that have the ability to change as the story progresses. As such, a dynamic character makes the best protagonist, in that it has a larger space to change as the story progresses. Second is the static character. The static character does not really change over the course of the story. These characters often play tertiary roles in stories. By tertiary roles, we mean they serve as minor characters, and they usually do not change in the course of the story. Then we have stock characters. The stock characters are the types that have been given fixed or limited traits. Their characteristics or their features have been fixed on them by the writer, and they do not change in the course of the story. The last type of character by quality is a symbolic character. A symbolic character represents a concept or theme larger than himself. They may possess qualities of dynamic characters, but they are also existing specifically to steer an audience's mind toward broader concepts. And most are supporting characters. So these symbolic characters are there to represent certain ideas or concepts or themes which specifically do not relate their character traits. So these are the sub-categorizations of characters. And as I said, they are the archetype, the role play, and the quality type. But let's look at the degree of development when it comes to the divisions of characters. So under the degree of development, we have two main types. And these two main types are round characters and flat characters. By degree of development, I'm talking about the fact that characters will develop with the plot. A round character is one that possesses numerous qualities or character traits. And this type of character is multidimensional. Multidimensional in that it develops along with the plot, and it grows and changes into whatever form or role that the writer would want to use this character for. And with that, they are usually close to the dynamic type of characters. Writers mostly choose round characters as their protagonist because of its fluidity. So round characters possess this ability in every story, and they develop and change along with the plot of the story. Lastly is the flat character. The flat character refers to the type of character that has a single trait or characteristic. This character shares much in common with the stock character. And as I said, the stock character has a fixed characteristics or a fixed feature, and it does not really change with the plot of the story. This type of character, that is the flat character, is also known as the type or one-dimensional character. The terms round and flat do not automatically imply value judgment. Each type has its unique way of usage, and it does not mean that one is greater or better than the other. Flat characters enable us to appreciate the personalities of characters who are more fully realized. And for round characters, they are not better than flat characters or more convincing than flat characters. It is the author's way of choosing to create its character. That is why some characters will be round and others will be flat. And this does not mean that round characters are better than flat characters. In summary, today's lesson has been on characters, the concept characters. And we looked at what characters are or represent. We got to know that any individual, be it animal, persons, or anything that a writer chooses to use in his storyline can be called a character. And we would be able to understand a character from two perspectives. It's either by personality or by attitude. Characters are categorized into three, and they are the archetype, the role play, and quality. And we explain what the archetype is, what the role play is, and what the quality type of character is. But as I said, we will look into detail the subcategorizations of the archetype in our subsequent videos. Lastly, we talked about the character by the degree of development, and we realized that we have two main types under the degree of development, which are round characters and flat characters. Thank you for watching today's lesson, and I know that you have subscribed, and if you have not, I entreat you to do so and share with others. I need your comments so that we share ideas together. Thank you.